Conducting a union election costs about $1,000 per worker, whether the union wins or loses. In 2015, there were 1,628 NLRB-connected certification elections, down from more than 7,000 per year in the 1960s. Unions won 1,128 of the 2015 elections. When a group of employees decide they would like to be represented by a union, their first step is to file a petition with the NLRB. Employees in a designated work unit, referred to as the bargaining unit, provide a dated signature on either a union authorization card or a signature sheet, indicating that they are interested in being represented by a particular union. At least 30% of eligible employees must provide this card for the NLRB to consider the petition. The NLRB then assigns an agent from an appropriate regional field office to process the petition. The regional office of the NLRB holds a secret ballot election, usually at the workplace. A majority vote in favor of the union is all that's required. The NLRB then certifies that the union represents the employees for collective bargaining purposes and requires their employer to bargain with the union. Here's an overview of the steps required in the union certification process. Step 1. Workers decide they want to be represented by a specific union. Step 2. 30% of eligible workers in the bargaining unit sign cards petitioning the NLRB for secret ballot elections. Step 3. A representation certification petition is filed with the NLRB. Step 4. The regional office of the NLRB holds a secret ballot election. Step 5. The NLRB tallies the vote to determine if a majority of workers voted for the union. Step 6. The union is certified and the vote is positive. Step 7. The employer is required to bargain with the union. One of the most challenging parts of the certification process is determining who is actually eligible to sign the card. The bargaining unit can consist of workers in a single location or from multiple locations. The bargaining unit can also be limited to a specific group of craft workers or a single department. The NLRB determines who is eligible to be part of the bargaining unit, or the union and the employer jointly make this decision. Regardless of who makes the decision, the company is required to supply the NLRB a list of names and addresses for employees who are eligible to vote in the representation election within 7 days after the NLRB has indicated that an election will be held. An Excelsior list is a list of names and addresses the company must supply of employees who are eligible to vote in the representation election for a union. Guidelines exist for what employees, employers, and union organizers can do during a unionization attempt. Employees can lobby a body of coworkers to vote in favor of the union, but they can only do so during lunch and other break times. The employer gets to decide where the union literature can be distributed by employees. Employers also can require employees to attend company meetings so that management can present its view about the union being formed. These meetings can be held on company premises and during work hours. However, no meetings can be held in the 24 hours immediately preceding the election. Supervisors are permitted to have one-on-one meetings with employees about the union issue and can give employees written information as well. Union organizers work for unions and are not company employees. These organizers are not allowed to campaign for the establishment of a union on company property unless the workplace is remote, such as a logging camp. Organizers can distribute information in public areas, at the work location, or in public areas of the city. They can also call employees and visit them at their homes. Federal law does provide an alternative route under which a union can be recognized by an employer outside the NLRB process. Employers can voluntarily recognize a union if employees show majority support either through signed authorization cards or some other route. When the employer voluntarily recognizes a union as the bargaining representative for a group of employees, the status of the union cannot be challenged for a period of 6 months to 1 year after the first bargaining session occurs. A card check is a process whereby a company recognizes a union once the union has produced evidence that a majority of workers have signed authorization cards indicating they want the union to represent them. Under a neutrality agreement, a company agrees that it will not express its views about unionization during the time when signatures are collected. Unions preferred card checks and neutrality agreements because the NLRB does not become involved in the union certification process, and management loses its right to speak out about the possible effects of unionization.